Let's rip apart a NetDuma R2 gaming router. Well, for curiosity's sake, at least. So, I love my NetDuma R2. I think it has a very sleek design. I like the angles. I like this little red strip that's going on. One thing I don't like is the red lights they have. They're really bright, and if you like your gaming area completely dark when you're gaming, it does stand out a bit much. I hear that sometime in the future, via software, there should be an option to shut those off. Hopefully that comes sooner rather than later, but that's really my only complaint with the design. As you can see, I don't have the antennas connected because I don't want to sit here and unscrew them. But, you know, the antennas stick up on the side. Looks fine, blends in with the gaming stuff quite well, in my opinion. And I really think it's a great looking router. Flipping it over, we can see that I've already removed the foam pads, and this is one of the complaints I have. If for whatever reason you will want to get into your R2, which there really shouldn't be any reason for it, these pads are really cheap. And if you start pulling on them with different spudgers and stuff, I try different things. They leave glue behind, they leave pad behind. They're just cheap pads, and so you'll have to go out and buy some new pads, and that is kind of stinky. But there should be no reason to open your router. Once you've unscrewed all the Phillips screws, which is something I like, they're just simple Phillips screws. You get a Phillips head screwdriver, unscrew them all, and you can just flip it over. And then the lid is attached to these couple of cables here, to these two LED strips on these boards here. So the top is very simple. It's just these two LED strips, and that's it. Simple, simple. I like that. There's no reason to have a whole bunch of stuff on your top. I think it is kind of odd to have the LED strips here, but, you know, whatever. The bottom, now that's what we're looking at right now. There's some odd design choices in here. I don't know much about chips or whatever, so we're not going to really discuss that, but you have these two cables that you had to unplug for the top. And the one thing I find very odd, and obviously this is, you know, manufacturing stuff, you have your, I don't know what these are called, probably should have looked it up, but you have your normal antenna clips. You know, if you've ever taken apart anything with a wireless antenna, you have this little golden clip, you know, and you push it down on a thing that matches on the board. Simple. There's two of those in here, which makes sense, but there's four antennas, and the other two antennas are soldered in place for some reason. I find that very odd. I don't know if that's just... I'm not going to guess. I'm really not. I just find it very odd that there's two soldered antennas and then two antennas with the actual, like, both ends. Now, granted, I know supplies and stuff have been weird and, you know, stuff that's been going on in the world and all that, but that seems like a very weird issue to have. Obviously, you have some capacitors here floating around. And then if we take off this thermal pad up top, you can get a look at the chips, and there's, you know, a few laying around here. Again, I don't know much about chips or board layouts or anything like that. Honestly, I don't know diddly squat. But what I do know is this is very simple. And so I'll take some close-ups, and you can take a look here. And if you want to dig in more about what's going on under the hood, you can. But I just found it interesting to take a look. If we flip it over, you can also see there is, and again, I don't want to take off those antennas, so I got a couple stuck antennas here. There's another pad, and of course the bottom itself is got plenty of air holes. So there's a lot of air that can go through this thing. And then, you know, there's this protective pad here on the bottom, which I just accidentally ripped a little. Oops. You know, protecting some of the stuff so that you don't short it out, and I'm sure it helps with heat as well. When it comes to heat, I have noticed it does tend to get a little warm, so maybe the pads could be a little bit better or whatever, but I like it. Very simple design, simple to get into if you wanted to. I don't see any reason to want to replace the full antenna setup in here, but if you were to want to, it is weird that you have to unsolder a couple things, and then you have a couple regular connectors. So that's it, really. I just was curious to see what was inside the R2 and just have a look around. And yeah, I don't know much about boards or whatever, but very simple design in and out. And that's probably why we get such a good value out of the R2. It's not very expensive, and the software is really what we're paying for once again. So yeah, I love my R2. If you were curious what was inside, there you go. Now you can know. All right, I'll catch you later. take her easy.